Good evening. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I'm a optimal health coach as well as a global director with Take Shape for Life. And I'm the team leader for our meeting tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about some training that's coming up in April for training people that are new coaches to achieve what we call senior coach, which is the first milestone of our coaching careers, where we're actually working with 5 people. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that. And then we're going to do just some coaching Q&A. We call this segment Quiz the Coach. And really this is what comes down to challenges that you're having with talking to people, maybe with a client that's having a challenge with his or her program. Maybe you're having some objections that you're having a hard time getting through. So we're going to talk through a little bit of that as well. But first up here, it looks like... I don't know, Kim, if you had a question from before or this is for now. I noticed you had your hand raised.
Yeah, well, I was, I don't know if this is appropriate now or later, but I just thought what a fun time that was. I know I joined late, but the format and people being engaged and participating, I just thought that was a lot of fun. And I'm excited for next week to see Debbie and Vivian leading that. And I just thought it's not anything new, but how fun would that be? And I don't know, Vivian's a coach, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So maybe not as applicable to her, but Debbie, you are?
Yes. Oh, unmute.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing.
You're
okay.
I muted you.
I signed up. I've got the packet, but I'm kind of struggling a little and had a client, my niece, and then she just disconnected, and she was my first and it was horrible.
Oh.
So I'm just kind of struggling with the whole getting myself out there. That's why I volunteered, because I need to get myself out there and start to try and do this. And so I just keep coming back, right, Craig?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good for you. Well, I just had a thought, and maybe it won't work as well with Debbie and Vivian, but what a great excuse, Debbie. I was just thinking, like, for me, I have a lot of, always trying to find new ways to engage people with the materials that are really going to provide long-term health, as opposed to just the diet piece, which is pretty much the quick start guide. That's the how. But I thought, one of these weeks when I volunteer, I thought rather than doing the work myself, I'm excited about the idea of maybe engaging my clients and saying, hey, I've been asked to present chapter whatever. Can you guys help me come up with some ideas of questions to ask, or what were the highlights that you had? And then maybe actually follow up with those people and say, can you come on and help me? And so yeah, I'm responsible for making sure that's covered, but maybe you could use that even, Debbie, with some people that have been asking you questions or things, and say, hey, would you help me out and either support me or help me come up with some good highlights for this?
Yeah, I've had a few people that were interested and then they kind of backed down. So people are not ready. Or, I'm getting, and so I just keep reminding myself I'm going to hear a lot more no's than I am yes, and my time will come, and as long as I'm diligent about what I'm learning, I'm also still a client, so I feel like I'm really close to my goal weight, and my goal is to just get there so I can put myself on social media, so I can start reaching out with friends that I don't necessarily see on a daily basis, that have seen me go through this, and so I like the challenges. I think that's a good segue. That's how I did it, and so but I don't want to I don't want to put people in thinking that's going to be the only way I can get people, to talk about and be interested in experiencing the health I'm experiencing. And it's interesting. People are, because I've lost weight before, so I think they're kind of like, oh, she might just gain it right back. So they're not really jumping at, wow, you look fantastic. Some people are.
Well, let's talk about.
And that's my segue usually into trying to talk to people.
Yeah.
And so.
And you chose a great chapter, Debbie, because I remember reading these exercise chapters, and they were completely, like, I learned a lot of new stuff that I had not heard elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that'll be a tool. I mean, Craig, you can maybe say what your thoughts are on that, but maybe that'll be a tool like, hey, did you know this? From what, I'm excited to be presenting some information, Tuesday,
Right.
Join me, kind of a thing. So that was
Yes,
just
no, I like
some of
the
the thoughts
idea of
that
the
I had.
Zooms for sure.
Yeah.
I did get a couple of people in on Zooms a couple of times, and then life happened, and they kind of.
Well, and tonight I sent out a big email, and then right as things were starting, I was pumping it out on Facebook, and then I was sending people Facebook Messenger notifications. I had a long conversation with Mickey Lou, who's on now, Mickey Reynolds. And one of the neat things is, we talked, actually, I don't know if she's still there, but I know she's there, but her video's not on. But we talked just about some challenges that she's having with the long-term approach to this thing, which up a few pounds. And we just talked about what that looks like. And it's like the pendulum swings to the 5-in-1, and we lose weight for months, and then, Christmas happens and we get a little bit loose. And then we this is my example. And then we kind of open Pandora's box until all of a sudden we stopped losing weight, and now we're gaining, and we're like, oop, open too much. Okay. Reboot, and so that pendulum then starts going back the other way, and everyone does it. Everyone. Dr. A does it. I've seen him gain weight, and I've seen him be very fit. When he was at Glow Global, I touched him on the shoulder, and it was like a rock. I couldn't believe it. And I go, whoa, what's going on with you? He goes, yeah, I've been preparing for this helicopter skiing trip that I'm going to do. And he goes, I don't want to die. So I've been working hard. And he was like solid, unbelievably solid. So all that to say is he's taken the time to prepare properly.
Oh, didn't you?
But then there's been times when he's been overweight as well. And so even the guy that wrote the book, he's still a human being. And so, so Mickey Lou, I talked to her, I said, have you been connected to community? Where have you been? And we moved from Fridays to Tuesdays. She hasn't been here for a while. And I noticed that she came tonight, and she said she was really glad she came, and showed up again tonight for the huddle, and Richard was on. And so we had a lot of these guys that haven't shown up for a while. There she is. Hi, Mickey. Do you, let me unmute you. Did you, I kind of told a little bit about your story, but I'd love to just kind of hear it in your own words, a little bit about our conversation and kind of where you're at now.
Oh, okay.
I was just talking about this morning when we talked, and how you've gained a little bit, and how we all have gained a little bit, and just the idea of community and why you chose to come back on tonight.
Yeah. When I first started, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. So from January to September, I told him I could count the number of times I cheated, and then since September, I've gained 10 pounds back, and it's just been a real struggle, just going back and forth. And my head, I can't. I look in the mirror, I can't see myself the way that I am, especially in my head. I don't see myself at all. I told somebody asked me how much I weighed. I was at the doctor's, and I told her how much I weighed, and she goes, "You don't weigh that much." And it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do. And I mean, she was saying how you have to weigh less than that. That's too much. And I couldn't handle. I didn't know what to do with that. And it's just been really hard to. It's just been really, really hard to emotionally hold on to the fact that I've lost weight, and I've gone 10 sizes or 8 sizes smaller, and I It's just been really hard and a real struggle these last few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then talking to Craig, I mean, he just it was so good just to get some affirmation that I'm not alone, that this is all, all of us do it. He's done it. It makes it nicer, but it's still, that part is still there.
Yeah. Well, and for one thing there, Mickey, is that you're not alone on gaining it, and you're not alone on losing it again. And we talked about some action items. Yeah. So it's not just commiserating together and we feel better as we gain all of our weight back.
Right.
It's not something I'm interested in. Right. And so it's understanding that we do have those pendulum swings, but we have a plan that together we're going to keep you going, because I don't think you ever got to your final weight.
No.
Right. And so we talked about there's no more tension. Yeah. You were close enough to your goal that there wasn't a lot of tension in the rubber band anymore. And so we needed to set that new goal out there and that new idea that will then pull you toward it. And we talked, she's going on a cruise in 4 days. And so we talked about an ally that she's going to go to somebody and she's going to say, I need your help. And this is what Kim said too, about getting people involved in the book. I need your help. I was asked to do this chapter and I need I need to discuss it with somebody. Would you help me with that? Believe it or not, when you do that, you're doing them a service. When I ask any of you guys for help, it's not because I can't lead, by the way. It's because I want to see something come out of you. I want to see you take ownership so that you can get the win. Like you can feel the excitement of it. And so that's the big picture of why we asked people for help, not only in our own health journey, but also when we're doing trainings, when we're doing coach training, things like that. So thank you for sharing, and thank you, Kim, as well. I want to talk a little bit about the training that I'm preparing right now. I had a conversation with my mentor yesterday while she was on her vacation, on her incentive trip vacation. She took a few minutes and just talked with me. And so I'm in April, starting the first Saturday in April, we're going to do a 1 hour coaches training. And this is not going to be, this is something Terry helped me with. I was thinking that this training was going to be for new coaches to go new coach to senior coach. And I would teach a class every month. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to teach you all the skill sets necessary to take a brand new coach from new coach to senior coach. I'm going to the way I'm going to teach you to do it is I'm going to do it to you and with you. So we're going to learn how to tell our stories. But before we learn to tell our stories, we need to learn what our story is. So once we learn what our story is, then we're going to learn the art of getting someone else's story out of them. So while you're getting their story out of them, you'll be able to interject parts of your story in the mix so you can be relatable to them. Very powerful skill. And we can't just know how to ask questions, and we can't just know how to tell our story. It's the combo of those two. And Betsy's nodding because this is Betsy and I had a long conversation about this yesterday. So part of it's going to be learning your story. Then it's going to be creating a invitation list. It's really a party list. Who do you want to invite to your party? Because you're having a huge health party. You're having a huge, awesome, I want to feel great in my body party, and you have a bunch of people you want to go. And the first thing in your mind is you're going to say, well, I don't know if they would say yes. Guess what? That's not for you to decide. When you invite somebody to come to a party of yours, and sometimes we do this, I'll say, oh, they won't come anyway, and so I don't invite them. Shame on me. Like, it has nothing to do with health. If I'm having a birthday party and somebody lives too far away, I'll say, oh, they're always busy, they wouldn't come. Well, you know what? If I like them and I want them to be there, I should give them the opportunity to say no or yes. So we're going to talk about building lists and what that's all about. Fall in love with inviting people. Yep. Kim just sent me that. That's exactly something we heard at at Go Global. And then we're going to talk about the three types of three-way calls and when and how to set those up and why they are so vital. That'll be week 3. And then week 4 is going to be talking all about follow-up. What are your systems for follow-up? And then you're just going to rinse and repeat. And so these are the things for you, Debbie, that are going to be vital, that you know these things. And by the way, Debbie, one of the things that I loved that you said, and this is, you don't even realize how profound what you said was, I know you're going to make it as a coach. I know it. Because you said, yeah, I had my niece and she started and then she disconnected. And you said, I know that it's a matter of time. I'm still on my journey and I know this works. And so I'm just going to keep learning and sharing my story and talking. And eventually I'll find people. And so you're coaching because you can't not coach. You know this works. And you just have to wait until you either find the words to communicate what it is, or you find the people that are ready to hear it. And I love the fact that you said, I'm not going to quit. It's just a matter of time.
Oh, well, I love health, and I always have. And I love the aspect of the habits of health is medical, and it has basis to it. And, I've learned so much, and that I just want to share it because I just have that. It's just in me. So,
right. Well,
so I'm hoping it works for my benefit,
Right. Well, sure. Yeah. Because with the more healthy people around you, the better chances you have. And so in the long run, Debbie, is we will learn how to communicate what you just said in a way that people can hear it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the 3rd week because that's where I get kind of the 3rd week about the 3-way meeting. Three-way call. People are like, what? And they're like, well, no, this is not, this is too much for me. This is not what, and they start to pull back and pull back because, we just got inundated with information. And so it's like, well, okay,
Well, and so there's some skill sets there that need to be transferred. And when you get those, that will be different. Those calls will be very,
that's why I'm here.
They'll be interested. So that's starting in April. So I'm preparing the slideshow or the slides. And believe it or not, Doug Wood, Terry Miller. Terry Miller's running a boot camp for Dr. A and all of his coaches. She's preparing that because Terry's got a unique skill set that she has honed with some really, really good trainers. And I just told her that I didn't want to be part of hers, but I wanted to do ours because we have our own culture. And she's like, well, I'll share the slides with you and you go get them, Tiger. And I love how supportive she is for us to do our thing. And so it's probably going to be after the 18 call, so it'll probably be Saturdays, 8:30 to 9:30 or 9 to 10, something like that. We could go super early, 7 to 8. And I'm willing to do that, but we'll figure it out. It'll be Saturday mornings though, because Tuesday nights, and it's only going to be 4 weeks. So it's not going to be forever, right? But you'll have a 4-week session where we'll train these skills. And then we're going to go on to senior coach to ED. So you'll have to be a 2-point, at least a 1-point coach, which is senior coach, in order to join that next session. So anyway, those are a couple of things in the works. And Tuesday nights are going to be, we're still going to do the huddle at 6. We'll do Habits of Health thing at 6:30 or, as we get through the book. And but I don't know how much we're going to be, because I want to be able to have a place for new coaches or guests to come back on and we can introduce them and invite them and just kind of get back into our rhythm that we seem to kind of get lost in when we had our Friday things. So anyway, so that's what's going on as far as that goes. So look forward to that. I want everybody that's been a coach for a while, no matter what your rank is, to come and be part of it, to make sure that we secure all the skills necessary to build senior coaches in other people. And we're going to be doing some fun things like breakout sessions. So we have these things called breakout rooms, which you don't know about. It's on Zoom, and I can send two of you to your own special Zoom, and then I can call you back to the big room. And so we're going to pair people up to go role play stories, and then we'll bring you back and we'll talk about how it went. So it's going to be very fun and interactive, and lots of practice conversations. Another word for role playing, practice talking. Some people are afraid of the role play word, so we'll just call it practice talking. Kim, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify, Craig. So the idea is that you will do this 4-week class or whatever to become senior coaches, and then that won't be repeated. Is that right? So we're just supposed to take the information and apply it with our new coaches. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding that correctly.
And because I talked with Terry about that, and she said two things. One is you want to work yourself out of a job, right? And so you don't want to be doing the heavy lifting every week. But we are going to do boot camps. We'll probably do this class throughout the year. So I'm trying to just figure out how it all works. But in the end, what I want is to build freedom, but I want to also transfer the skills. And the second thing that she was really clear on is that people learn at different paces. And so knowing the sequence and the skills, then you can train anybody. As you have coaches come along, you know what the first step is, and you know how to train that. You know what the second step is, because they may go through the 4 weeks in 2 weeks because they're ready to rip and roaring, ready to go, right? Or it may take them longer. May take them longer than 4 weeks. May take them 8 weeks to learn all the skills, or maybe a year. And so that's the idea now. The biggest thing is we're just going to start with teaching the skill sets and making sure you guys have all those skill sets in order. And I'm going to invite all coaches to come to it. But ideally, what I want to do is teach you the skills to then teach the coaches, teach your coaches. So, and then teach your coaches how to teach as well. So
we would do this. The idea is we would do it individually, or would you see us having a 4-week session down the road?
Probably. I don't know. I need more conversation with Terry. All I know is I'm going to train you guys first, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Because it's kind of developing as we go, and I want to listen to Terry's. I had a pretty good idea of stuff, and she gave me some things to think about that I hadn't thought about because she's got a different vantage point. And so I'm trying to listen to her. Ideally, you guys all as professional coaches, knowing how to bring someone from new coach to senior coach and have those skill sets intact is what my goal is. And then because you can do it at your own pace. If we have mini boot camps, senior coach boot camps throughout the year to refresh skills, great. But ideally, I just want to make sure you guys have those skills intact. And then I want to teach you all to go ED, right? It's the skill sets to go executive director and then teach someone else to do that. And so this might be the next 6 months that will take to do these kind of things, 3 to 6 months. So, because in the end, it's really, once you learn what to do, you literally just keep doing it. And pace yourself so you don't get worn out. We don't go to trainings anymore to learn new things. We go just to be inspired that what we're doing is worth it, quite frankly. And we simplify it. Maybe there's a little better terminology. Maybe we hear about how somebody handled an objection. But there's no real new objections that I'm hearing now that I've never heard before. It's money. That's probably the biggest objection. It's packaged foods. It's people just unwilling to change, right? They just not ready. There's nothing really new. So, all right. So that's what I wanted just to talk to you about so you can be prepared for that. And it'll be Saturdays starting in April, and it'll be a 4-week session, and we'll have it be, there'll be role plays and a few slides that will talk through skills. We'll practice some skills, and then you'll have work to do through the week. So we'll buddy you guys up with a buddy partner, and we'll have some of that kind of practical through the week. Like, I'm going to get the word out to 5 people this week. I'm going to schedule 3 client story calls this week. Right. And so there'll be some practical like things that you'll do that will be action based, and then we'll report the next week on how it went. And, the worst someone can say is no. And it's not really that bad when you really think about it. It's not the end of the world. Like Debbie. So they stopped connecting with you. It had probably little to do with you. Right? And so you just went, okay, I'm going to keep going. And we just get to do that because we know what we have works for those that want it.
Yeah, the thing with me is I'm still getting used to the weight loss, and like what Mickey was saying about how she's still just even getting comfortable in her own skin. Mm-hmm. And so rejection is getting, I'm dealing with it, mm-hmm. But it is tough.
When someone rejects,
put yourself out there.
When someone rejects what you're saying, they're not rejecting you as a person. They're saying that's not for me, right? Yeah.
But that's what I'm kind of struggling with right now. Is just trying to talk myself through it, and talking to Alex, he's just, it's up to them. You just can't take it personally. You just have to know they're just not ready. Mm-hmm. And I try to remind myself, but still, it's scary in the beginning because you're waiting for that really successful one that pushes you further.
Right.
And I'm just going to be patient.
Mm-hmm. So. And so last thing is I just opened up my Spring Forward into Health team, and I will post the link to join my team here on our Optimal Health Coach page, so you guys can jump on the team again, and so we can have people play there. And I may end up I'll just figure out how to manage the team huddle in conjunction with what we're doing. That's why I'm trying to kind of take what we're doing and put it at another time, so it'll just be the huddle. But that'll be up on the Optimal Health Coach page shortly. I thought I was already registered, and I realized I wasn't. So Martin said, I want to be on your team, but you don't have a team, so get a team. So we have actually we're past our time. If you guys do, yes, I will be taping the sessions, and they will be available on recording. I would encourage you to do what you can to be there live, because it is a short 4 weeks, and because I know you'll get so much more out of it, and we will get more out of it if you're there. So it'll be but I'm going to start promoting it pretty heavily and starting to do lots of conversations with coaches to make sure that we have a good group that shows up. So do you guys have any, we talked about some different questions. Do you have any Q&A specifically about a specific client or somebody that you want to talk to, you're not sure what to say, something like that comes to your mind? It's okay if you don't. We talked through quite a few things. Okay. Well, thank you guys for your attention tonight. I'm really looking forward to this next training. And by the way, Kim, what you said, reading this book with a group of you guys makes this book come alive, and it's so much more fun. It seems like tonight was the first night where we actually finally got some serious traction. Like it really went alive tonight. And probably because in the past we've read up to chapter 17 and stopped reading. So it's probably going to be good from here on out, right? Those other chapters were first timers for many of us. So next week we'll have a few new faces that will be in, and I'll work with Debbie and Vivian to have a good mix. And when you're doing your client celebration calls, if you don't tell them about the huddle up at 6 and the chapter review, most of the time, did you know that all of the coaches and a bunch of us clients are going through the book one chapter at a time each week? And they're like, no. Would you like to join us and just listen in? Because they can learn even if they didn't read anything just by listening in. But if you don't tell them how to get here and when to get here, they can't come. It's not that they won't, they can't. They don't have directions. And so when you're doing your client calls, make sure you have it on your agenda. Remind them about the huddle and the book review. And we could have a bunch of people that we haven't ever met show up on here. So, all right, guys, have an awesome evening, and thank you for being awesome and all your participation. See you next week.